Good morning and happy Mother's Day to all mothers and mothering figures of children, adults, and fur babies alike. I'm Jen Jaksa, and I am honored to welcome you to First Church Unitarian in Littleton, Massachusetts. Warm welcome as well to anyone visiting us today. As a representative of the Standing Committee, I'd like to remind all members that next Sunday, May 16th at 11:30, is our annual meeting. This is such an important and really jam-packed meeting. So we really ask that you familiarize yourself with the issues and come prepared to vote. You'll also find the Zoom link for this meeting and a couple more details in the community matters, along with some other updates and information of all other events going on with the church. With that, I'd like to introduce our clerk, Lori Grant, who will now read the warrant. Thanks and enjoy church.
Hello and good morning. I'm Lori Grant, the clerk. First, the voting list is now available on our website. I am notifying you, the members of First Church Unitarian, that you are lawfully entitled to vote in its affairs to meet on a Zoom call. The link will be provided after church services on May 16th, 2021 at 11:30 a.m. or immediately following the Sunday service, whichever is later, to act on the following articles. First, to review and accept the minutes from the October 2020 warranted meeting. Second, to hear and act upon the annual report. Third, to elect officers of the church, nominating committee members, and delegates to the UUA General Assembly, June 2021. Fourth, to act upon the budget from July 2021 through June 2022. Fifth, to act on allocating $23,000 for an engineering system design for the Green Sanctuary Heating System project. Sixth, to approve a change to our bylaws, Article 5, Section A, from a Board of Deacons of 4 members to a Board of Deacons of 3 members. Seventh, to act on proposed membership bylaw change. Eighth, to approve the renewal of the Green Sanctuary Task Force. Ninth, to approve the renewal of the Neighborhood Supper Task Force. 10th, to authorize the treasurer to borrow money on behalf of the church. And 11th, to conduct any other business which may lawfully come before said meeting. Thank you all very much and have a beautiful day. I hope to see you all soon. Bye.
Good morning. My name is Malley Lozeau, and I'm the music director. Just want to announce our prelude today. You will hear the organ from our sanctuary and see our quilts. You'll be hearing the Rustic Serenade to the Madonna by Hector Berlioz, who was a French composer. This was written a couple hundred years ago, but it's still very beautiful. And what I think is fun is that a lot of these organ pieces kind of give ideas on what you should set for the manuals, like what you should set for the organ sound. But a lot of that is up to the performer. So you'll hear some of my choices in the way that the organ sounds are chosen. So here is Rustic Serenade to the Madonna.
Let us tell stories of mothers, stories that could be true. Let us tell of warm mothers, soft and round, likely to be found with flour on their nose, and always ready to pour you a glass of milk to go with the cookies on your plate. These mothers are increasingly rare. Let us tell of mothers who are like bubbles of champagne. They surprise your senses, leave you giggly, but when you least expect it, they erupt with an unexpected pop. Stories that could be true. Then there are grouchy mothers, stressed mothers, exhausted mothers, faces lined with worry and spirits tired and gray. Other mothers are wise and reliable, not prone to many words or to a lot of noise, but you know that when you need them, they'll be there. Let us tell of fierce mothers, the ones who will love you even when you're wrong. Let us tell also of absent mothers, whose memory shimmers at the edges of your heart. Let us tell of distant mothers, cruel mothers, loving mothers, giving mothers. There are walk-away mothers, save the world mothers, too busy mothers. Mothers you cry because you lost them, and mothers who make you cry because you can't. Stories that could be true. May we hold in our hearts the mothers we have known, those who loved us and those who tried. May we forgive the mothers who didn't get it right and try to release the knots of disappointment, anger, grief, pain. May we hold in our hearts the truth that mothering, nurturing, is a task that belongs to us all. However old or young you are, whatever your gender, may you make extra room for nurturing in your life this week. May we remember and reflect and create anew the stories of love and nurture from this point forward, stories that can be true. The words of Maureen Killoran. Let us worship. Each morning that we worship together each Sunday, an important part of our worship is the lighting of our chalice and saying the words of our covenant. I invite you, if you have a candle or chalice at home, to light yours along with us and to say the words of the covenant if you know them. We'll be led this morning by V.O. Malley.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Thank you, V.O. Good morning and welcome to First Church Unitarian here in Littleton, Massachusetts. My name is Lara Hoke, and I am so happy and so lucky to be the minister serving this incredible congregation. I would like to join with Jen in welcoming you this morning, especially if you are new with us this morning. We're glad you found us. I hope that you will consider checking out our webpage if you haven't already. It's fculittle.org. And you can scroll down and see a purple box on the homepage. We call that our virtual pew card. You can click on that and request more information or to be contacted if you wish. So consider doing that. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there or anyone who gives mothering and nurturing love to others. It's such a gift to do that for others. It's a beautiful day here in Littleton. I hope it's beautiful wherever you might be as well. We continue with our May Soul Matters theme of stories. And this morning you will hear some stories of mothers from your fellow congregants. But now let us have our first hymn, opening hymn. It's number 38 in the gray hymnal, Morning has broken, and you'll see the words on the screen. It's the time for all ages. If there are any kids or children where you are, bring them up to the screen for a terrific story. The story will be told this morning by our own Tatum Hammer, a member of the Rockin' Religious Education Committee. Enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Today's Time for All Ages story is Mama and Me by Cozbi A. Cabrera. Good morning to you, sings Mama, bright as sun. Sometimes she sings it like the birthday song. I've tiptoed to where she is in the house. It smells like cinnamon. Papa and Luca are still sleeping, but I want to be everywhere Mama is. I put my nose to the window. My breath makes a cloud inside. The clouds outside are wearing shadows. The wind is painting the outside window with beads of water. It's raining, I say. The perfect day for boots and puddles, says Mama. Bathroom first, she says. Then water, I say. This is Mama's cup. Sometimes I take a cool sip, but I have to be careful because her cup is breakable. This is my cup. Mama's cup goes clink, clink with a spoon. My cup goes dot, dot, clink, 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 dot, dot, clink, 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 clink. Sometimes things break, Mama says. This is Mama's toothbrush. This is mine. I get less toothpaste. Round my teeth with little circles, Mama says. Round my teeth with little circles, I say. It's shower and dress time. Mama holds up my towel. A shower is warm rain that gets you going. Mama and I both have silver dresses. I wear mine with silver shoes. They're my favorite. Today is not our silver dress day, Mama tells me. I put my silver dress back on the hanger and pick the plaid pants instead. Come here, Mama says. She points to my chair. I'm hungry, I say. Mama's thought of this ahead of time. She has warm oatmeal in the pot. This is Mama's bowl. She likes berries. This is my bowl. I like bananas. Comb hair, Mama says again. I don't want the bumblebee barrette. I don't like the bumblebee barrette, I say. Mama closes her hand. She knows I mean just today. She gives me the blue barrette instead. Comb hair, I say. I point to Mama's chair. Mama smiles. I give Mama the purpley pink barrette. It matches her dress. She calls it fuchsia. Out we go, I say. Max is waiting. These are my rain boots, and those are Mama's. Mama's rain boots are bigger than mine, and they're red. I watch for Max's tail before I close the door. Max doesn't wear rain boots. Outside, a pecker peeks. The sidewalk is longer than it is wide. I love the grass that grows in the in-between. It's moss, Mama says. It's velvet, I say. A hole is where a branch was. Nests are left behind in water. Some things don't let go. But for what? The stores are boxes filled with people. We sing out loud to sky. Sky is taller than the trees. Mama says a song is highs and lows. Splash! The outside clouds are pink with a sleepy sun. The day and our good are done. Mama puts me and Luca to bed. Our day is done earlier than Mama and Papa's. It's just that way when you're growing. Mama reads to us. I read to Mama. I begin each story with, sometimes. Mama laughs. She throws her head back and shines her teeth. I laugh too. You're my best girl, Mama whispers. Luca is already asleep. I slip through the blanket tunnel. She closes by my chin. There's the kiss. I love you, Mama, I yell. She turns off the light. My mouth gets sleepy first. The walls are dark except by the window where the stars are hanging. I close my eyes and let the day spin me some pictures. There's Max and Luca and Papa and Mama's laugh and tree holes and tall songs and mossy velvet as green as grass and full boxes and a blue barrette and a whole cup and a beaded window and warm indoor rain. Oh, and oh. There'll be me and Mama. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tatum. I so appreciate that. This is the time for our offering. It's a great day to think about nurturing and caring for others. And we nurture and care for each other here at First Church Unitarian with our generosity by giving of our time and talent, and when we can, giving of our treasure. If you're able this morning to make an offering, we are very grateful. If you would like to mail it in, behold our address, First Church Unitarian, Attention Assistant Treasurer, 19 Foster Street, Littleton, Massachusetts, 01460, or you can go to the website. It's fculittle.org. And when you get there, you can look in the right corner, there will be a yellow donate button, which will tell you the ins and outs of donating online if you choose to do that. This morning's offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation.
The music you'll hear for the offertory today is called Nocturne. It's from a grouping of pieces called Miscellaneous. And I think what's really interesting is the composer for this one is Ignaci Paderewski. And he usually, his typical style is very atonal. You might say that it sounds like the notes are like not supposed to go together, like very dissonant and very clashy. But this particular set of music was written in a very post-romantic style. So it sounds like maybe other composers that you've heard before, such as other Russian composers like Rachmaninoff or Tchaikovsky. So I think this is a very interesting piece. I just discovered it a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to share it with you. So here is Nocturne.
Today, you are going to hear stories of mothers, stories that could be true, as Maureen Killoran says in our call to worship. You'll hear from our own members very briefly, in short stories, 3 minutes or less, a couple significantly shorter than 3. You'll hear from Niela Miller, Lori Grant, Kathryn Pfaltzgraff, Elise Bon-Rudin, and Caroline Marvin.
Hi, this is my first selfie video. My mom, Sylvia Miller, was born in 1910 and died in 1991. She was a painter, dancer, and writer. She was mostly responsible for my aesthetic sensibilities and always supported my creativity. She was also a great hostess, cook, and raconteur. As she worked for a while as an executive secretary on Madison Avenue in an ad company in New York City, she was definitely avant-garde, very open-minded, had a wicked sense of humor, and I hope I carry on those traditions. Thanks for it all, Mom.
Many years ago, I was on a road trip on the East Coast with my girlfriends that I've known since I was a young kid. And we were playing the game Scruples. And the question in the car as we were driving was, who is your hero? And I was driving, and my answer at the time was my mom. And as I explained why, I was crying. So I'm going to try and explain why and not cry. When I was 20, my dad died of a heart attack, and I have 2 younger brothers who are 13. And I also have older brothers, but they were out of the house. So my mom, for the first time, got a job outside the house to take care of us, take care of my brothers. I was working. My dad passed away with no life insurance because there was no extra money to pay for life insurance. So we really had nothing. And she really did keep it together. I'm not really sure how. And she got a job and she worked, and my little brothers were getting ready to go off to college, and my grandmother, her mother, had a stroke and got very sick. And we brought her home. Well, we had an apartment. We brought her to the apartment and took care of her there once she got out of rehab until she passed. And we were away. My friends and I were on that trip when we were gone, when this question was asked. And my grandmother was living at the house, and I left my mom home alone for 2 weeks taking care of my grandmother. And just the idea of how strong she was and continues to be as she helped my brother, who's a little bit slow, raise his daughter, and continues to do that even now when she's going to be 87 years old at the end of this month. She's always just said life is what it is, and you deal with what comes your way. And so she's my hero. She reminds me to always be strong and to remember the stock that I've come from, so that when life is difficult, you push through it, you deal with it, and you come out the other side. So that's why I love my mom and why she is my hero.
I wish I could talk to my mom, Violet Pfaltzgraff, now and tell her how proud I am of her. She was an adventurer moving from Pennsylvania to Nigeria to live, work, and raise her family. She was brave, intelligent, and compassionate. In this photo, she is holding a bouquet she received when Dad was given the Damien Dutton Award for his work in leprosy. He could not have done his work without her. Mom was head nurse of the hospital. She ran the dispensary, mixing and distributing medication. She was also the hospital treasurer. When Dad was traveling around the world for conferences, she ran the hospital alone. The bouquet she is holding meant a lot to her. She felt like it was the first time her work was acknowledged. She certainly deserved more credit than she received.
My mother, Marcia Louise Lehman, taught me many things, gave me many things. Not in so many words, but she taught me to name what I was feeling, and that whatever it was acceptable. She might not agree, she might not like it, but above all else, I ought to know what I thought and felt. A first commandment of sorts, taught by example, not by proclamation. She taught me how to be a junior lawyer because there were some things that we argued about continually. We argued about my hair. We argued about whether I could sleep with a boy before marriage and still be a good girl. It's essential to learn how to argue, to fight fair, to live with the conflict that comes along with true closeness. At home, where it's safe, my home was safe, so that later you can argue, stand on your own 2 feet, with your professor, your landlord, your roommate. My mother taught me to argue. She taught me a related skill, how to stand up for myself, even when it meant bringing on a permanent rupture with her entitled, queenly mother. My mother was one of 3 daughters, but after I stood up to my grandmother, there were 2 daughters, not 3. She taught me about all the kinds of little black dresses, their different hem lengths and the right heels for each. She taught me that I could ride the train to New York City by myself when I was 8. My father was waiting at the other end on the station platform, but it was still an adventure. She taught me to love adventure so much that I later lied to each of them about which train I was taking, so I could walk around New York City for a while by myself. The first time I drove our car on the highway, she taught me to get back behind the wheel again after a strong wind had made me lose control and forced the car into a ditch. She taught me how to know myself. She taught me how to become myself. She taught me how to love because she was so good at it.
The story I will tell was so important to my mother that she asked that it be read in her own words at her funeral. The stories convey something of what was taught to us about love and commitment in a relationship and in a family. I will read it now in my own words. There are 2 parts to this story. Part 1. At 15, my mother left her home in Washington, D.C. for a private Christian girls' boarding school in Pennsylvania. Sometime in her first year, she was invited to join a sorority, a kind of girls' club, and in that club, you had to be initiated if you wanted to join. That is, you had to perform some silly and embarrassing task. My mother had 2 tasks. The first was that she had to scrub the steps of the courthouse in that small town with her toothbrush. The second was that she had to propose to the minister of the local church, the young, handsome, single, 27-year-old minister of the local church, in baby talk, wearing a baby bonnet with witnesses. She was 15 and he was 27. Well, she did it. And when she had finished, he found in his desk a paper clip and he molded it and bent it around her finger. And then he dictated the following document. I, Betty Ann Weeder, being of sound mind and in the presence of these witnesses, do promise to marry the Reverend John Marvin upon the completion of my high school education. This document, framed in glass, actually hangs on my wall. To make a long story short, they were married when my mother was 20 and my father was 32. In the next chapter of the family creation story, My mother was making the final decision whether to marry my father. She was in college now, attending seminars on careers. These seminars were a requirement of all the young women who attended her women's college. On this particular day, the speaker was an interior decorator who ended her speech with these words: "Not to do great things, but to create an environment in which great things may be done." It became the basis for her decision to marry my father and found our family. So, oh gosh, it's another story for another time, but she did that very thing for all of us in a beautiful and remarkable way. And that is the real truth.
Thank you all so much for sharing those stories. You can learn a lot from stories. So we've heard from 5 women who clearly appreciate their mothers, certainly in hindsight, though I'm sure all of them had their moments with their mothers, and 5 women who admire their mothers. And I would be a 6th woman who has a deep appreciation and admiration for my mother. But we also know that Mother's Day can be a complicated day. Some have a tough time with this day because they had a tough time with their mother, or the one who was providing the motherly, nurturing, caring in their life. Maybe it was just that you couldn't connect, or you fought in a lot of ways that were more hurtful than helpful. Maybe today is hard because you're missing a mother that you lost, or perhaps it's hard because you're a mother who's lost a child. Maybe today is hard because you didn't really have a mother, or at least not a functional mother. Maybe today's hard because you didn't get to be a mother when you wanted to be. For all of these reasons and so many more that I haven't named, I know that this can be a hard day. And I hold you in my heart if this is a hard day for you, with great love and compassion. Of course, even for those of us who were lucky enough to receive motherly love in abundance, it's not possible to be or to have a perfect mother. I don't even know what that would look like. Being a mother or a parent or a primary guardian is a 24/7 job that really lasts a lifetime. And it's not possible to be perfect every moment of every day. Everyone will have shortcomings. Every parental figure will be good at parts of the task and good at parenting in certain situations and certain times, but no one can be good at all of it, all of the time. In our call to worship, words of Maureen Killoran, we were encouraged to hold in our hearts the mothers we have known, those who loved us and those who tried. We were encouraged to forgive the mothers who didn't get it right and try to release the knots of disappointment, anger, grief, pain. I would add to that my own encouragement that you have compassion with yourself today for your own imperfect mothering, parenting, or nurturing. It's not easy to be in that role. I'm sure that many of us can relate to pieces of what our 5 storytellers shared today. Most of us get some sense of style or fashion from our parents, even if we get it primarily by rejecting that sense of style. Those who raise us leave an indelible mark on our own aesthetic sense. In general, mothers and those who raise us have a huge impact on our sensibilities. How to cook, how to be a host, or how not to. How to go about taking care of all the unglamorous daily business that must be done. Again, even if we end up rejecting some of their sensibilities, we bear the imprint of the daily round with which we were raised. Some of us were lucky enough to be raised by mothers or other guardians and nurturers who encouraged us to be brave, to believe in ourselves and stand up for ourselves, to have adventures, perhaps to pursue careers or find a way to make ends meet, even when that seems next to impossible. Some of our mothers were underappreciated or certainly unsung, perhaps taking a supporting role in the family, perhaps not being the ones to shine with glory or greatness in any obvious way, but creating, quote, an environment in which great things may be done. Giving motherly love is a breathtaking task, and many of us, at least as adults, if not while we were growing up, stand in awe of the task that was done, even with all the imperfections. May we hold in our hearts today, maybe also going into this week or even beyond, the stories of the mothers that we heard today, as well as recalling the stories of those who mothered and nurtured us. May it help us to reflect on this profound task, the task of helping to raise and nurture fellow human beings. May we, in the words of Maureen Killoran, hold in our hearts the truth that mothering, nurturing, is a task that belongs to us all. May we, as she suggests, make extra room for nurturing in our lives this week. May we remember and reflect and create anew the stories of love and nurture from this point forward, stories that can be true. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn is number 91 from the Gray Hymnal, Mother of All, and you will see the words on the screen. It's time for our closing words, and as has become our tradition, I invite you, if there's anyone there and you can safely hold hands, I invite you to do that. If you are alone in the room, as I am alone here in the sanctuary, I invite you to put your hands together and feel that warmth and imagine this loving circle of community and friends. Maybe imagine loved ones that you're missing today as we hear our closing words. There is nothing you can do with your day, with your week, with your life, than helping to care for and nurture others. There's nothing you can do that's any more important than helping people to become the best they can be. There's nothing you can do that's more important than loving people deeply, unconditionally. Truly, the task of nurturing, or what some would call motherly love, is a task for all of us, and it's a task of a lifetime. May we all be the best nurturers that we can be, forgiving our own shortcomings along the way, as we try to forgive the shortcomings of others who also offer us their love. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
And for our postlude today, we have a Bach prelude. I like playing Bach, and I think it kind of, I don't know, it kind of sets up a mood. So I'm wondering what mood you feel like this one sets up. But this is a prelude in C minor originally for the lute, but played on the piano.
I love you, Mom.